Welcome to the Zen Supermom podcast. The episode today is about ADHD. Has your child been diagnosed with ADHD? And maybe as you are reading through the symptoms and learning more about it, did you do some tests and realize that maybe you have it too? And maybe that's the reason why none of the parenting techniques help you stay calm and focused with your children, and that's why they are having problems staying calm and focused now. And well, what if there is another way and another explanation rather than going on medication and putting some medical labels on you and your kid? What if there's something else going on, and what if you can help not only your kids but yourself in the process as well while cleaning that up? If you'd like to find out, let's go with me inside. Let's talk about it. Hi, my name is Elena. I'm your mommy tantrum specialist, and I'm the founder of the Zen Supermom system. And this is the first podcast to help you increase your stress resistance so that you can become a Zen Supermom and simply do it all while staying calm and happy. Welcome to the Zen Supermom podcast. Hi, Supermom or Superdad. Alena here, your mommy tantrum specialist and the founder of the Zen Supermom system, where we help busy, loving moms and dads as well now who want to stop yelling at your kids, and you want to be able to set healthy boundaries so that there's less drama at home, there's more love, and you feel like a safe place where your kids feel safe to come whenever they made a mistake and they need help. This is what we do, and in the last weeks, I started having more and more conversations with moms who were coming to me saying like, yes, exactly, I need your help because I'm yelling at my kids and they are difficult to handle. And that is because they have been diagnosed, or we are waiting for the diagnosis to be confirmed, because they might have ADHD. Okay. And so they're coming to complain that the kids have like lack of attention, they're hyperactive, lack of impulse control, and they're just like all over the place. They're easy to get distracted, easy to get overwhelmed, especially with noise or with touch. So then the moms are saying like, yeah, I can keep it together, I can be a nice mom, but when my kid get into their ADHD mood, it's really difficult for me to be able to support them through it. And then even more frightening for them is when they realize, while they're learning more about ADHD and how to support their kids, they're reading through their list of symptoms, and they maybe even take then a quiz for adults, and they find out like, uh-oh, it's actually me. It's maybe me who gave it genetically to my child because I'm showing exactly the same symptoms. And oh my goodness, this is what explains. That's why I've been so distracted, procrastinating, not able to get things done, so overwhelmed and scattered, and just like my to-do list is so long, I can't seem to get anything done. I'm so busy, so overwhelmed, like, ah! So if that's you, if I just described you and your family, then let's take a deep breath in. It's okay. The reason why I wanted to do this podcast episode is not only because that's what I'm hearing on the moms who are coming to me first time, who just met me and they're explaining this is what I'm struggling with, but because, even more importantly, I started hearing from moms who we already have inside the Zen Supermom program, who are already getting the help, and they are reporting amazing success. Not only they're stopping like with that uncontrollable anger, perfectly imperfect, they can control that. They can manage all of their emotions in a much more effective way. They're not yelling that often, but also their symptoms of what they thought was ADHD are going down. And as they calm down, become to be able to be more focused and centered and present in the moment. That's what then allows them to see their kids and their needs in a much more clear way. And they are able to come up in the moment with the most effective way to support their kids who have been diagnosed with ADHD. And then the kids have much smaller tantrums, like much fewer episodes with lower intensity, and in general they're experiencing much more calm and peace at their home. They're able to communicate with the kids, and the kids are doing much better even at school then. Okay, so I started checking with those moms, and they were telling me this is where I figured it out, because I'm not an ADHD specialist, I'm not a pediatrician, I'm not a general doctor, I'm not a parenting coach. Okay, just to be clear, all I want to share here with you is what I'm just discovering and the aha moments I'm getting. Because thanks to those moms we have inside the program and who reported so much progress, I realized we are onto something. And so I started doing some digging. Okay, and that's the digging. The results of my digging is what I want to share with you. And I want to be testing together with you, and I want to get feedback from you. Okay, if you're one of the moms, and I know we have lots of our Zen super moms from the inside of the program who are also listening and watching to this podcast. Hi there, moms. I want to get more of your feedback and testimonials so that we can then talk to the moms who are at the front of the gate, who haven't discovered this yet and who need our help. Okay, so let's unite. Let's unite our forces so that we can figure this out. Because while I was doing my research, I realized there's still too many resources with the old approach, labeling ADHD as, yeah, it's just the genetic thing, and so if your parents got it, then you will get it, and it's just, yeah, it's the genetic like wheel of fortune or roulette. If you were not lucky, you got it. Too bad. Here's the medication. Here's the label you can put on your front head, and like, go and good luck with your life. It doesn't have to be this way. And so this is what I want to dive in with you today. Because you tell me, what are the typical symptoms? What led you to believe that your child has ADHD? Or what is it that somebody told you or pointed out, like, hey, your kid is this or that, you should get them tested. Who told you, and what were the symptoms? Okay. Because typically what is labeled as ADHD is that hyperactivity, hypersensitivity, like they are not able to focus their attention, they are not able to control their impulses, they freak out, like when there's overwhelm, something is too much, they lose control. Yeah, so then they have the tantrum. Were those the symptoms of your kid? And is this what you experience yourself in your adult life? Like being too scattered all over the place, not able to focus, not able to hold one thought, not able to remember, not able to get somewhere on time. Because if those are your symptoms, then this is the thing I found out. Those are also symptoms of childhood trauma, early childhood trauma. Okay? They sometimes call it in research adverse childhood experiences, ACE. Google it. Those adverse childhood experiences, they have a classification. There's research done on that. Lots of studies, not just in the US, but all over the world. Many of those, they are not only about poor conditions, like poor financial conditions. This is what often was the judgment about kids with ADHD, that those are kids from lower class, poor families. Not the case anymore. What they are finding out, the ACE, the adverse childhood experience, it also includes you had ACE, you had adverse childhood experience, aka childhood trauma. If your parents were drug users, alcohol included, alcohol or drugs, if your parents were in jail, any of them, or any like close family relatives, if your parents got divorced, sorry to break it to you, but that's also one of the ACEs, one of the childhood traumas, if your parents got divorced. What else was there? They have a classification of 10 things altogether. If your parents, if anybody in your family was sick and they had to go to the hospital and you were afraid maybe they're not coming back, one of them. And in general, when they are too stressed, yelling at you, and hi, this is what we are talking about here every podcast episode, it creates childhood trauma, and it does create ACE, adverse childhood experience, which has then similar symptoms as ADHD, because the consequence of not growing up in an environment, in a family that feels safe, where you feel heard, understood, and respected and cared for, not just like, here's the food and here's the bed and don't bother me and do as I tell you because you need to obey, I'm your parent and I know best. Like, if you grew up in a home that was chaotic, where your parents were absent physically or just mentally checked out, they didn't have enough mental capacity because they were so stressed up, so caught up in their own drama of their life, they couldn't see you, they couldn't be there for you, they didn't feel safe, then you had a childhood trauma, you're growing up with childhood trauma, and that pain is most likely still unhealed in you. And now that shows up as ADHD symptom, because your brain could not develop in a healthy way. It had an impact not only on your emotional control, not only you have all these unhelpful voices in your head now, but your brain started firing, not like, and I often talk about it, now there's a time there will be a carnival in Rio de Janeiro. My husband is Brazilian. If you've ever heard or seen the carnival, there are thousands of drums that need to beat in the same rhythm. The moment the drums are off, imagine they wouldn't be beating in the same rhythm. They would be all over the place. Well, this is how a brain who did not develop in a healthy way, who was scattered, who didn't feel safe, who was growing up in a chaos, that's what the brain of those kids is doing still today until their adult age. Okay? It's scattered. That's why you cannot control your attention. That's why you cannot control your emotions. You cannot control your focus. You cannot control your impulses. Just like whatever idea spikes in your brain, you just go for it and like, and then you regret it. Then you're like thinking 5 seconds later, like, oops, what did I just do? Like, what happened? This is why. Your brain didn't have the right conditions to grow up in a healthy way so that every part of your brain can drum in sync, because that's only then when there is coherence, they call it coherence of the brain waves. If your brain is not beating in a coherent pattern, that this is then the scattered things, then it shows up in your scattered thoughts, scattered emotions, scattered behavior, scattered life, very stressful for everybody involved. And this is then more than genetics. This is what gets reproduced in your children, because they are growing up in your scattered overwhelm, in your chaos, in your like, oh my goodness, there are no boundaries, because one day mommy says yes and then 5 minutes later she says no and then she yells at me and it feels like it's my fault. All of this instability, they have no idea where you stand on. They need to walk on tiptoes. Either they become a good girl, good boy, just so that, let's not make mom freak out. Or they start freaking out because it's like too much for me to handle, mom. I can't handle your stuff. Like, I have enough of mine. And so then they go all over the place and they develop the ADHD symptoms as well. Okay. So let's take another deep breath in. This is not to blame you. I know you're doing your best. It's not your fault. It's not your fault that you have ADHD symptoms. We are not even here to blame your parents. I bet they did the best they could. Their childhood must have been even worse than that. They tried. They were not perfect. That's what you ended up with. It's not a death sentence. ADHD diagnosis doesn't mean you're done. Like here's your bottle of pills and good luck. No. As I told you at the beginning of this episode, we have lots of moms inside the program who are feeling much better. They are even going off of their medication, off of their ADHD medication, off of their depression medication, off of their like different hormonal medications, because all of these are just things that make it like they're supposed to take care of your imbalance, of that incoherent pattern in your brain, in your system. All of them are just masking the root cause. They're helping you make the symptoms easier, but they don't heal the root cause. The root cause is your unhealed childhood pain that you are still carrying with you. No matter if you don't remember what happened in your childhood, no matter if you had a happy childhood like me, I loved my parents, there was no divorce, there was no ACE, like no adverse childhood experience, apart from I had a yelling mom who was burned out. And that was enough. So I didn't end up with ADHD brain symptoms, but I had a childhood pain that I had to heal. Okay. This is what we do inside the Zen Supermom program. This is what you can do and what will help you even treating your ADHD symptoms. And that is then the best start for you to be able to start helping your kids managing their symptoms and helping them calm down, helping their brain start beating in this. Brain is not beating, but firing the neural pathways, firing in a coherent pattern. Okay, so that they have more clarity, so that they have to stop feeling like I need to fight and I'm like all over the place. Okay, so what does it take? Everything that I'm talking about in like all of the episodes of this podcast. First, developmental trauma therapy. Heal your childhood pain. It's been developmental. That's why you cannot remember one specific point in time very often when that happened, when your parents made you feel not good enough, or when somebody made you feel not be loved or worthy of unconditional love. It's not just one experience, because most likely you felt it several times a day, every day. It was the same pattern. That's why it's developmental. It was going on for a long time, for all of your childhood. So get a specialist who can help healing developmental childhood trauma, not just the shock, like if you were raped, if there was any violence. Of course, those are also ACEs, adverse childhood experiences that create trauma, okay? It's not a talk therapy, it's not EMDR, CBT, hypnotherapy, EFT, timeline therapy, just mindfulness, yoga, breathing techniques. They are great, but they are targeting different things. Again, they will help you manage your symptoms a little bit. They will help you feel a little bit better. They will not heal your childhood trauma, though. Let's be clear. Okay? So find somebody who can help you heal your developmental childhood trauma, and then who can help you overwrite those trauma coping mechanisms. Any pleasers, hyperachievers, controllers, perfectionists here? Those are coping mechanisms that you developed from that childhood trauma. Okay, so not only you need to heal that old pain, but you need to heal that autopilot, like that app, that system that's running your life still until today. Okay, this is what you need. This is what I'm proving now with my clients, because that's exactly what we do inside the Zen Supermom program. That's what we are finding out now is the recipe to healing the ADHD symptoms, because they are finding out it was not ADHD. It was just signs of trauma. Okay, so the diagnosis was wrong. So that's what I wanted to share with you. Go out there and do your own research if you want. Yeah, type in ACE, adverse childhood experiences, and childhood trauma. There has been a lot of research done on this connection, on this topic, and they are proving that indeed childhood trauma leads into ADHD symptoms. So before you label yourself as ADHD, before you go on any medication, I would highly, highly encourage you to do this research and start healing your childhood trauma, so that then you can become calm, unconditionally loving, focused mom who can create calm, loving home, no matter how stressful your life is. You can do that. We are having lots of moms who are divorced, expatriates, don't get enough help. There are kids with special needs, difficulties. You can create calm, happy, loving environment even through this, because then that's the best way how your kids can start having their coherent brain waves as well. They can start calming down, they can start learning better, they can start listening better, and they will really start feeling loved by you, because I know you love them so much. You would do anything for them. That's why you're even sacrificing your precious time to listen to podcasts like this. You are looking for help. So I know you're a great mom. None of this is your fault. But it is possible for you too. No matter how much stress, how many challenges, no matter how much pain you went through your life, you can do that too. I've seen it more often than you can imagine. And this is why I'm doing this podcast, because I want you to hear it. I don't think there are enough people talking about it. That's why I want to spread this word wide and far. Is that how they call it in English? I want everybody, every mom to know about this. Because this is your path to freedom. This is your path to happiness, not some pills. I will never, again, I'm not a medical doctor. I'm not telling anybody stop taking your pills and start doing trauma therapy. But kind of, give it a try. I'm sending you a big, big hug, Mom. I know it's not easy. You're a warrior. You deserve a huge hug and a pat on the back because you're doing great. So I hope this was helpful. Let me know. Especially if you've already tried it, if you're one of our clients and you got the result, please, wherever you're watching this podcast episode, share your experience for inspiration with other moms so that they know I'm not just making it up, but that there are real women having real results. And let's do this together. Take care.